Some characters just don't catch a break. Whether inside of the fandom of the work they're from or outside of it, they're widely reviled for everything from interfering with a popular ship to eating up all the screen time to just being an unpopular character type. So in this new series, I'll be looking at these characters to see why people hate them and why they ought to get a fairer shot. First up being Kanon's Tsukimiya Ayu. While inside the key fandom, Kano is probably the least popular haremette and Makoto the most actively disliked, even though they're great, fight me. Outside of it, Ayu is seen as a symbol of everything wrong with moe. Still not sure? If you're too new to anime fandom to recognize her name or face, you've definitely heard her catchphrase. Yes, uguu isn't just a word somebody made up to complain about cute girls being cute. It's from pioneering 1999 visual novel Kanon and its 2 anime adaptations and various manga. Ayu was one of the most influential winning girls in Nakige, or in moe period, so naturally, people who didn't like these things made her the figurehead for their gripes. So I'll tackle these common complaints to see how much water they hold. Number 1, comparing her to a child. Yes, she's compared to and occasionally mistaken for a kid in universe, though I personally don't see it, especially compared to the later Kud and Chizuru, who actually do look much younger than they are. She's got in-story reasons for her attitude, and many versions of the story, the 2006 anime in particular, underline that she is still actually 17, and behind his above-it-all jokes, her same-aged love interest Yuichi is just as immature as she is. Then we get to the people who pretend, or actually believe, that all the girls in the season trilogy look like children. Again, I don't see it. It seems to be a running thing with non-fans, and not just with Key. If you don't watch moe in general, you're going to be lowballing a whole lot of character ages. But it goes both ways. A lot of these same people will insist that Jotaro here looks his canonical age of 17. And looking at him, I wouldn't put him a day under 35. And no one's saying that means he's a bad character or that shonen battle series are terrible because of it, so go a little easier on Ayu and friends. The second common complaint is, of course, uguu. Some people just don't like catchphrases and verbal tics, and those people probably don't like moe series at all. But really, there's nothing wrong with Ayu saying uguu. It's a harmless habit she's had since childhood, and the series itself even makes fun of it a few times. Yes, new viewers will feel a little weird hearing uguu used in earnest when they've been introduced to it as a term of anti-moe mockery, but that's the same principle as, say, going back to old anime after watching newer ones they influenced. And a lot of fans find it a charm point. If you don't believe me, they actually produced an audio CD you could buy, bundled with an art book, that consisted entirely of 86 variations on uguu from the 2006 anime. I don't own it yet in my admittedly small Key collection, but it's on my list. So far, we've mostly tackled complaints about Ayu that are really just complaints about moe. It makes sense, considering for decades now she's been a symbol for people who hate moe, but what about within the Key fandom itself? The most common complaint there, especially for anime-onlys who thus haven't played the other girls' roots, is something we'll come back to a lot in these videos: ship hate. Ayu is the main heroine of Kanon, appears in every route, and gets the guy in almost every adaptation. For fans of the other girls, she's traditionally been seen as an obstacle, and so they amplify her flaws. But that's a little silly for a number of reasons, and it's died down since the original VN was fan-translated, so if you wanted to hook up with Nayuki or Shiori or someone instead, you can. Ayu doesn't even present herself as an obstacle. Not only does she get along with all the other girls, but both the original and the adaptations largely write her out when they get into the meat of the other routes because she's actively stepping aside. In the VN, she will appear one last time on the other routes to notice that Yuichi's dating someone else, wish them well, and leave their lives, and it's largely implied that her miracle uses her last wish to save the person he loves. Even with Makoto, who can't be saved because her condition was caused by an equal miracle, Ayu still steps out of the way. If you want to ship something else, be her guest. She's not going to stop you. Tsukimiya Ayu gets a lot of hate she doesn't deserve. When Kanon was huge in the public conscious, there was a lot of backlash from people who didn't like the aesthetic or genre of the work, and even now that it's more obscure, the thing that's endured is a mockery of moe taken from her. But honestly, Ayu is a great character. If you don't like moe, miracles, and melodrama, and you're not going to have fun watching or playing Kanon, then don't. But don't subject those of us who do to rants about how it's the downfall of anime or what have you. You've still got plenty to watch that'll appeal to you. Let me know in the comments which widely and unfairly hated characters you want me to cover when I do this again. This is Secret Identity Studio, And I know it's not taiyaki weather, but I still kind of want some.